Okay, yesterday we started learning about koshering utensils, and we discussed there's what's called, but because it becomes absorbed within the wall of the keli, so if you want to kosher it, to make it like brand new, then you have to take it out from the absorption in the wall. We're discussing there's two general levels. There's what's called hagola. Hagola is what's called purging. That means you immerse the vessel into boiling hot water. So it went in with hot water, so now it goes out with boiling hot water. Or you can have the level of libun that we learned yesterday, that you blow, basically in simple English is you blow torch it and make it red hot. So if something went in, became treif or chametzik with liquid, you have to kosher it with liquid. If it became treif because it was direct fire, then you have to kosher it with direct fire. Now what?
It says over the frying pan yesterday, because it was not done usually with water, but mostly with oil.
But very little oil. No, frying pan that you put just a little bit of oil. Okay, first of all, as we learned yesterday, coated stuff you can't kosher.
Right.
But let's say you have a regular frying pan,
Right.
you make fried eggs, whatever, right, or meat. So there's a little bit of oil. That's not counted as liquid. Liquid is when you have a substantial amount of liquid, like a deep fry. A deep fryer would have a din, in this case, of cooking.
It would go in only through the fire and the heat and the...
Yeah, but it's direct heat. No, I'm saying the liquid is not counted as liquid in that case.
If you do halacha on a pan,
It's not good.
not good.
No. Okay, so now there's a fundamental difference to understand the major concept over here. There's a fundamental difference between the hagola process, purging process, and libun, the blowtorching. Let's use that word instead, libun. And the difference is like this. If this pot became chametz stick with liquid, like soup, chametz stick and soup. So now you have liquid absorbed, the taste of the chametz absorbed within the wall of the pot. So therefore, how do I get it out? By purging it into hot water, it's going to come out. The problem is, if this taste is coming out, why doesn't it go back in? Just like heat makes it go out, heat makes it go back in also. So let's say this pot became chametz stick because I cooked chametz soup in it. So what happens? The heat made the chametz become absorbed in the wall of the vessel. So now when I kosher it, the hot water takes it out from absorption within the wall of the vessel. The problem is, why doesn't it go back in? Just like it's going out, the chametz is going to go back in. So one aspect of this is, the Gemara says, meaning it's busy spitting out, it can't absorb. Which means, if you know, I'll give you an example by people. You know when you talk you can't hear? When you're hacking a china, you can't hear what anybody else tells you. You're so busy spitting out, you can't get anything in. So that's why in Shulchan Aruch it says that when you're koshering a pot, you shouldn't leave it in for a very long time. Why? Because after it takes out all the chametz or treif, it's going to go back in with the heat. Okay? So therefore, the din is, to save that issue, so while it's spitting out, granted it can absorb, but once it finishes spitting out, it can go back in. So therefore the din is, anytime you do hagola, just practical halacha, not practical halacha, anytime you do koshering with hot water, you're not allowed to use the vessel for 24 hours prior to the time you want to kosher it. If you remember yesterday we learned, after 24 hours, the taste which is absorbed within the wall of the vessel becomes what's called pogum, blemished. Like if you have a pot, remember we were learning this yesterday, you have a meat pot, okay, and so there's meat absorbed within the wall of the vessel. And then I cook milk in it. So within 24 hours of the meat, so then a fresh taste of meat is coming into the milk, it's going to make it treif. But if it's not used for 24 hours, that taste is not real meat taste. It's blemish taste. So therefore, we don't care if it's going to go back in, because what's going back in? A blemished taste. It's not really chametz or meat. So therefore, anytime you want to kasher with something for 24 hours, you're not allowed to use it for anything hot 24 hours prior to the time you want to kasher it. Because hagala means it spits out, okay, and you don't want it to spit back in. Libun is a different story. Libun is not spitting it out. When you blowtorch a pot, let's say, what you're doing is you are destroying the chametz in it. You're not making it spit out. You are just burning the chametz or the treif, whatever you're kashering from. You're burning it out. So based on that, you don't need to wait 24 hours. Because we're not afraid it's going to spit out and go back in. I'm destroying the chametz that's in the pot. I'm destroying the treif that's in the pot. And therefore, when you have libun, you don't need to wait 24 hours prior to the time you want to kasher. To give you a simple example, if somebody wants to say they have a self-cleaning oven. Self-cleaning oven, not the new ones, by the way. The new ones are a whole different story. They only get up to 250 degrees. The old-fashioned self-cleaning ovens gets up to 900 degrees. Okay? This regular self-cleaning oven that really gets hot gets up to 900 degrees. According to almost all opinions, 900 degrees is like blowtorching it. It's very, very hot. 900 degrees. It's very, very hot. So somebody, let's say, by mistake made something milchik or something treif in the oven, and they want to kosher the oven, they don't have to wait 24 hours. They can put on self-clean, and they self-clean it, and they can use it right away. If somebody, let's say, was cooking with chametz in the oven, and now Wednesday morning they were cooking chametz, and now Wednesday afternoon they want to kosher the oven. So if you'd be doing it with hagala, with the hot water, you'd have to wait 24 hours before you kosher it. But now that you're doing it with libun destroys what's in it, so therefore you can do it right away. You don't have to wait 24 hours. 1 second. There's one more thing that's between libun gomor and hagala. There's a third level. And that's called libun kal. A little libun, not libun gomor means it mamish gets red hot. Libun kal, let's speak practical. If there's no rust on it, as long as you touch the opposite side of it and you pull your hand away, that's called libun kal. Libun gomer means I'm making it mamish red hot. Mamish red hot. Libun kal, which means easy libun, it means I'm not getting it red hot. I'm blowtorching this on this side, let's say, in a way with a blowtorch that if I would touch here, I would burn my hand, I would have to pull it away. That's libun kal. So libun kal is good instead of hagala. Let's say I have a big pot. I can't put it into anything else. So one practical way of doing it is, you can put it, either get a blowtorch or you do something else. You can put it upside down on the stovetop, turn on the fires, and wait a few minutes, you're going to touch the pot, you're going to burn your hand. That would also kasher it. Okay, libun gomer means you make it red hot. Hagala means you're doing it with water. Libun kal means I'm doing it with heat, but not red hot, but it's hot enough that if I touch the other side, I would burn my hand, burn my finger. So there's a big machlekes in halacha. Do I need to wait 24 hours between libun kal or not? Before libun kal. Many opinions in halacha, you'll see in all the books, they write that libun kal, you need to wait 24 hours before you do libun kal. But the Alter Rebbe holds clearly in Shulchan Aruch that you don't need to wait 24 hours. So if you're kashering something with libun kal, you could do it right away as long as it's clean. You have to make sure that the thing is clean. You can't kosher dirty pots. So as long as it's clean, then you're able to... What did you want?
Well, Kal answered the question because I was going to ask why it is that the grill that is directly on the fire, and when we want to kosher it, we put it in the oven.
Self-clean oven.
Well, or...
No, you need libun gomer.
Yeah.
The grill, the food mamish touches it.
Yeah.
So there's no liquid. Correct?
Yeah.
So the fire is making the chametz of the, whatever it is, or the treif, going directly into the grill, into the grate. So the only way you can kasher that is leaving gomor. Now, if you want to put that into your self-cleaning oven, which gets up to 900 degrees, that would also be leaving gomor. Okay? But you can't do leaving kal on it because it's not going to be good enough. You can't be, but you know, that, but the problem.
450 or 550 doesn't work?
No. Leave 550, according to what by the way, the hottest the non-self-cleaning oven gets to is broil, which is 550. That's leaving kal. It's not leaving gomor. Now they have the new Aqualift, I think it's called. There's a new self-cleaning process out there in the ovens that it only gets up to 250 degrees. And yet it self-cleans the oven. Because there's a chemical in the oven that when this 250 degree thing works, it self-cleans the oven like the old ones would at 900 degrees. The problem with that is, it's only getting up to 250 degrees. It's not libun gomor. It's only libun kal. It's only getting up to 250 degrees. It's not, so you can't kasher an oven if you want to do libun gomor. You can't kasher things in that self-cleaning oven because it doesn't get up to 100 to 900 degrees. It gets up to 250 or so.
How long do you leave it on self-cleaning?
How long do you leave on self-cleaning? Okay, so the ovens have different settings. You can put it 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. But technically, if you self-clean it even for an hour or 2 hours for sure, it got up to 900 degrees. And it would be what?
The grates that holds the pots, not that you're putting food on it. Just
Yeah. In Yiddish, in halacha it's called chatzuva. The grates that you, and the stove that you put the pots on.
Yeah, you're not putting food.
In Yiddish it's called a dreifus. In halacha it's chatzuva hainu dreifus. Dreifus, it has 3 legs. Dreifus has 3 legs. So that's the grate. So a lot of poskim, like the Mishnah Berurah, and a lot of poskim say libun kal is enough on it.
There's what, I'm sorry?
Libun kal is enough.
Okay, so that was.
One second. The Alter Rebbe writes in Shulchan Aruch it needs libun gomor. The Alter Rebbe is chsuv tzarech libun. The Rebbe Rashab writes he means libun gomor. Okay, now, what's the logic behind these two? What's the argument? The Mishnah Berurah says, what are we afraid of? Things spilled over. Right? Things spilled over. If things spilled over, but the fire is on, so it's going to right away burn it out. Now, the Rebbe ought to know that you need to do libun gomor on it because the bottom line is that things still spill and the fire doesn't necessarily burn it out. And it came direct fire, so therefore the Alter Rebbe holds you need to do complete libun, go red hot libun. So what people do is, let's say they want to kasher their, see electric stovetops, not the new ones, the glass top. The electric stovetops that had the coils, see when you turn on the stove, the coils actually get red hot. So when it gets red hot, after a few minutes it gets red hot and you leave it on for a few minutes, so that's libun gomor. Okay? But the grates, you turn it on, they don't get red. But there is a way of doing it that you can kasher it properly, even those opinions say you need to do a complete libun, and that is, if you have an electric stove, so the fire comes out in the middle, the grate's around it, right? So the fire is not directly touching the whole grate, it's only touching the middle part. So you pick up the grate a quarter at a time, okay? This is the grate. You pick up a quarter of it at a time, and you put that quarter directly over the fire. So then the fire is mamish burning that out. Then, after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, not with your hands, you move it around to the next quarter, and you can do all the burners at the same time, right? You need a good set of tongs. So you put a quarter at a time, you turn it on, wait 10 minutes, then you move the next quarter 10 minutes, because by then, how do you know it gets red hot? If you do it in the dark, you close the lights, you'll see that they're glowing. So that's libun gomor. What?
Or you could put it in the self-cleaning
I said that, you can put it in self-cleaning oven. Last stove top is for tomorrow night. Why? Because we have to go Dav Merev. That's it with that for now.